everybody, and welcome to the premiere episode of Back to Back. I'm your host, Noah Cowan, alongside my co-host, Alex Kent.
Hello, everyone.
We're here to talk about the world of baseball on and off the field. It's great to see you, Alex. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Just looking forward to the baseball season starting next week.
Honestly, me too. All right, but let's get right into it. Top of the first. Recently, Aaron Judge said a statement to the media. He said, "You get this whole team healthy, we're going to crush the record that we set last year." With the moves that the Yankees have made this offseason, including signing DJ LeMahieu, extending Aaron Hicks, re-signing key assets like J.A. Happ and Zach Britton, trading for a bona fide phenom in James Paxton, is this team a shoo-in to win the American League, and will they break the home run record that they set last season?
To answer the first question, are they a shoo-in? You can never say that in baseball because baseball, you can't really predict a season, any sport, but I don't think the Yankees are a shoo-in. You still got teams like the Astros, the Indians, just so many teams that have so many stars. The Yankees obviously got better. They added, as you said, Paxton, DJ LeMahieu, who led the league in hitting in 2016 with a .348 batting average. So he's not some just chump they got off the street. He's there for a reason. He even said he's willing to be a super utility infielder whenever the Yankees need them. So I think it's just great. I'm a Met fan. I'm just going to throw that out there to all the viewers as well. But the Yankees, you got to respect them, their whole legacy. I think that it's so hard to break the home run record. James Paxton, as you see right there, those are all the additions. Tulowitzki, a few years ago, one of the best hitters, shortstops in the league. So we'll see how that goes with the home run record. They hit 200, and they hit a lot in 20 last year. And we'll see if they can break that. It's just so many home runs. Judge healthy. He's always been healthy, Stanton. But we'll see. You're the Yankee fan. You can go more in detail.
I totally hate to brag about this, but I predicted the DJ signing about 2 or 3 weeks prior to him actually signing on Twitter, at no account, by the way. But you were good. Well, if you expect first half Sevy to come back and pitch like he did, he pitched 14-2, 2.31 ERA. If he pitches like that the entire season, you're going to expect just like the best team in the AL for sure.
And also, just to correct what I was saying before, they hit 267 home runs last year. That's just, I don't think that is sustainable. It's just like could have been a fluke, but they're still going to have a great year.
They honestly can break that home run record, though. Last year, 20.8 at-bats per home run for their team, highest in the league, but they are definitely a shoo-in, I think, just saying that. Mets legend Tom Seaver has recently been diagnosed with dementia. Mets COO Jeff Wilpon recently responded by saying, "We've been in contact with the Seaver family and are aware of his health situation. Although he's unable to attend the 69th anniversary, we're planning to honor him in special ways and have included his family in our plans. Our thoughts are with Tom, Nancy, and the entire Seaver family. How will this impact the franchise moving forward?"
So obviously Seaver hasn't played for any team since like '86 when he retired, but Seaver is known as the franchise for a reason. He's one of the best pitchers of all time at the time of his retirement and when he made the Hall of Fame. He had the most percentage. He had like 98% of the votes, so that says something.
Right.
He had a competitive fire at the time too. Like batters were afraid of him. Hank Aaron, who at one time was the home run leader before Barry Bonds. You could say stole it, but that's a topic for another day. Hank Aaron said he was the scariest pitcher to face, and Seaver introduced himself to Aaron, and Aaron said to him in '67 before he became big that you're going to make it one day in this league, and he did. But it's really sad to see this with Seaver. He has dementia. Hopefully, he's only in like his mid-70s, so hopefully he has a lot of good years left, but he won't be involved. The Wilpon said they will build a statue, as they just said, and hopefully they do in the next few years, as he still will be able to remember it.
Yeah, his percentage for the Hall of Fame, number 3 behind Ken Griffey Jr. and Mo, who got in 100%.
Yeah.
The Mets in the 60s were the Miracle Mets because of him. He had one of the best pitcher WAR ERAs at 106, which is 7.
They went from the lovable losers to the Miracle Mets in 1969, which was a historic year, Man on the Moon, and the Mets winning the World Series.
They should forever be grateful for him, for sure. But Major League Baseball is executing new plans for the 2019 and 2020 season, including getting rid of the August waiver deadline, pitchers facing a minimum of 3 batters, and an all-star election day when the fans decide the stars in a 24-hour period. What are your thoughts on these changes?
They've been talking about it for some time now. As you can see, there's so many on the screen right now. A 3-batter minimum for relievers, so the lefty specialist, like for the Mets, Jerry Blevins, he would be useless. Andrew Miller, he's good against lefties and righties, so this probably won't affect him. But there's just so many things that they're trying to get the game, like the time of the game down. And Rob Manfred, the commissioner of the MLB, has been talking about it. And finally today, I was reading on my phone earlier, and I'm just like, wow, they actually got some things done. We'll see. Also, another thing for the Home Run Derby, there will be a $1 million bonus for whoever wins, so some more incentive instead of just a fun all-star weekend thing. The August deadline, that's how the Astros got Verlander, so we'll see how teams down the stretch with a lot of salary, how they do with that. So, Noah, what do you think?
Houston wouldn't have won that World Series without him because he had like a 10-0.
He was amazing.
Record or something like that, like a 1.7 ERA. I'm fond though of the All-Star rule because of that we can vote for the best right fielder for Betts or Judge.
I totally agree with you. But coming up next on Back to Back, our hot and cold players. You won't want to miss it. You're watching Back to Back on WTOP.
Guys, I don't feel so good. Shouldn't have had that chili for lunch.
When you are in space, you can't run down to the store to buy parts. You have to improvise with what you have on your mission. Making is when there is something new that was not in existence at the beginning of the day.
Okay.
It's an incredible sense of accomplishment when you have made something. That's why I make. Now I want to hear why you make.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
Hello?
Josh, the stream's not working. We need you to fix it right now.
The stream's down? I'll be right there.
About a month into spring training, there have been teams that everyone will have to keep an eye on. We will break down a team from each league, the American and National. So we're going to start off with the Boston Red Sox, the reigning champs. So Noah, I know you have a lot to say about them. I mean, you're a Yankee fan, so you'll probably be a little hostile, but let's see what you have to
Not to be
say.
biased or anything, no. But it's March 14th, and Craig Kimbrell still hasn't signed. And without him, their bullpen is basically nothing. They have just Matt Barnes, and Stephen Wright was recently suspended for PEDs. So if they sign him back, that's obviously a big hole that they're missing. So they should definitely bring him back. He averages 42 saves per season. And if you expect Mookie Betts and JD to be those MVP candidates like they were last season, you can definitely see them competing. And I think their biggest X factor for sure is Dustin Pedroia because he was out for most of last season.
I mean,
And he's one of the top second basemen when he's healthy. Not top, but he's top 10 for sure.
It's more about his veteran leadership and presence. He's been with them
Exactly.
since like 2008 or 9. He's the MVP along the way. And the Red Sox, to me, the thing that's the most scary about them is the chemistry that they have. After every game, the outfield, whether it be Andrew Benintendi, Jackie Bradley, JD if he's actually out there because he can DH as well. But yeah, I mean, their chemistry is just so great. They do dances in the outfield after every game. Their manager, Alex Cora, he's a player's manager. We'll see how they do this year. They're the reigning champs. We'll see. I mean, I'm really looking forward to it. As a Met fan, you got to root for the Red Sox as well because it's just a rule to go against the Yankees. So
I should also mention it's Chris Sale's final season, so they're expecting a lot out of him. They want him to pitch at his best. They want him to pitch them to the World Series. And also, they signed Nathan Eovaldi to a 4-year, $80 million contract. Is he up for that? I'm not sure because he had one pretty good season.
yeah, I mean, you're a Yankee fan, so you saw Eovaldi at his worst, and he has great stuff. He throws hard, has great off-speed stuff, but he had a great postseason. I understand they want to reward him. They also, David Price, that whole Fortnite scandal where his thumbs were messed up. He had a great postseason as well. Everybody on the Red Sox team played up to their standards last year. I think this year, I don't think they could sustain that to the same level, but we will see. I root for the Red Sox as well, but yeah, the season starts in a few weeks, and let's see if they could get the hot start as last year they ended. So now we will discuss the team that made the biggest splash of the offseason by signing Manny Machado, the San Diego Padres. So the Padres, I mean, they had stars many years ago like Tony Gwynn, who is one of the greatest contact hitters ever, Trevor Hoffman, the second best reliever behind Mariano. But the Padres this year have a lot of upside. So Noah, what do you think about them?
Bottom 5 in runs average and home runs last season in the National League, as well as the starter ERA. Their only asset, it seems like right now, is their solid bullpen led by Kirby Yates, who was pretty impressive last year and a big-time sleeper in fantasy baseball. But after signing Manny, they really still are a third-place team because you have the Dodgers in the division and you have the Rockies, and they both have killer offense and killer pitching. So I don't think they can compete this season. I'd say maybe next season when their prospects start coming
just
up.
to say one more thing about the Padres is Eric Hosmer, who they signed last year. Hopefully he goes back to his normal sense. I mean, he had 18 home runs last year, but he's a guy on the Royals who was a key part of their World Series run. And also their rotation, that's the one questionable thing. I think you mentioned that. They're all young guys, prospects, phenoms. And with you need really a veteran presence in there, but they will really adapt with time.
Bold prediction. They'll have the best win differential in the National League. I think they can be a comeback team. They could be 500 even with this Manny signing. I think it's going to be the biggest key to them.
And someone else said, I was just saying veteran presence. He's not a pitcher, but he's a second baseman who I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. It's similar to Chase Utley. Ian Kinsler, who last year was on the Red Sox, the winning team, had a key error there, but he's still a veteran that will bring something to the Padres that hopefully, I mean, I'm not a Padres fan, but it would be nice to see them do well after so many. I mean, Bartolo Colon hit a home run off them a few years ago, so that basically James Shields allowed that. That must be just like the most devastating thing to allow as a pitcher.
I miss Bartolo, by the way.
Yeah. So every year, new players keep up their tear and others slump. This is just something in every sport. This is our hot and not players segment. So starting off with our fiery projections, we'll start off 2019 with a bang.
Right time right now, Byron Buxton of the Minnesota Twins. I know spring training won't make a big difference for sure. Right now he's batting .364 with 4 home runs and 12 RBIs. Every year I've been saying he's been breaking out. He's been one of the top prospects in baseball. I think this year is his year. I want him to bat like he did in AA baseball. I want him getting on base all the time, batting .315, 20 homers, about 50 stolen bases, which he actually did almost get in AA. But I think for the Twins, he's their main X factor if they want to compete in the AL for the wild card.
I was also looking at his Instagram, and he really seems to have a newfound passion for the game, which is what you love to see. So hopefully your hot projection really lives up to his standards. So going on with mine is someone who has been, I would say, borderline superstar, but I want him to keep up his tear. The biggest issue with him is strikeouts. His name is Trevor Story.
Ooh.
He's the shortstop, and I know you love him as well.
Man crush. He's my man crush.
So yeah, I got him for fantasy baseball too through auto drafts. Lucky for that. But this is his stats from last year: 37 home runs, 291 batting average, 108 RBIs. So he's not just someone off the street, as I was saying earlier. He's also very fast, one of the fastest guys in the league. And we'll see. I mean, hopefully he has a great year, a key part of the Rockies. So now moving on to the polar opposites, we will go on to our bust. Who is going to start off slow in this season, in your opinion?
First baseman Max Muncy of the Dodgers. He had a great year for sure last year with the .391 on base, and he did slug 35 homers, and he was in the home run derby, and he came up pretty short. But most Dodger sophomores like Cody Bellinger and Chris Taylor didn't live up to that hype which they had in their first season. I can see him still doing well, but not as well as he did in his first year. And all I know is that for my other fantasy league, I'm not drafting Max Muncy.
Yeah, but for me on the cold side is Shohei Ohtani. I don't think he's going to have a terrible year. It's just the fact that people are calling him the new Babe Ruth, and it's just hard to live up to those expectations. As a batter, he was great, but he's not going to be able to pitch due to Tommy John surgery, but I think he'll just have a cold year. So coming up next on Back to Back, stay tuned for our projections for the year. You're watching Back to Back. Don't press that dial.
Hey, President Stanley, what's your favorite television station?
I don't know. Hey, guys, what do you...
Guys, I don't feel so good. Shouldn't have had that chili for lunch.
The second I got on the campus, I knew Oswego was the place to go.
There's a place for everybody at Oswego.
The this school just opens the world to you. Have the opportunity to explore and to learn so many different things, not only about yourself, but the people around you and the world.
It definitely is about the student. I felt it to be very about me.
Now that I'm here, I can't imagine myself anywhere else.
How do we afford all this?
Welcome back to the show. With the MLB season fast approaching, we have our ridiculously early season predictions. Let's start off with some player predictions. Up first, who's your biggest sweeper or breakout star?
So this is actually, I was digging deep, and I remember in the baseball video game that I play, which we'll talk about in the future weeks, MLB The Show, he was unfair. His name is Jordan Hicks of the Cardinals, and he's a reliever. He throws ridiculously hard. I mean, he's known for his fastball, gets a lot of ground ball outs. He doesn't get a lot of strikeouts. Somehow he throws like 102, 103 sometimes he can hit. But I think he'll have an Aroldis Chapman type season where he'll figure it out. I mean, he's like 22 or 23, so he'll figure it out this season and really be a sleeper for the Cardinals.
He can honestly compete for the closure spot for the Cardinals, I think, with
Yeah.
with Miller. But mine is Alberto Mondesi. I think that's how you say his name.
Yeah,
but
you got that right.
He's on the Kansas City Royals. 32 stolen bases in 75 games last season. I think the Royals can be one of the first teams ever to have a trio of teammates with 40 stolen bases in one season with a very fast Billy Hamilton, who they acquired during the offseason, and their second baseman, Whit Merrifield. And he has the capability, well, team-wise also, they can break the record for the most stolen bases in one season. And also, he has the capability to hit 20, 40, 300 this
Yeah,
season.
I mean, I've read a lot of great things about him as well. So hopefully both of our sleepers really live up to the hype that has been around them. So Noah, what star or superstars do you think will be traded at the new deadline, not August, just the end of July?
Mad Bum to the Milwaukee Brewers. They had a splash last season by getting Moose, Jonathan Scope, Gio Gonzalez. They never acquired that ace that they need. Like, I mean, I know in 08 when they acquired CC, they went on that huge, ridiculous run. CC went like 11-2 with a 1.3 ERA. But Mad Bum, he needs a change of scenery. He hasn't been healthy the last few seasons. If they get Mad Bum, I think they have a better chance at competing for the postseason. And it can lead them on that big run to the NL pennant.
Yeah, it's been talked about for years with Bumgarner. I mean, remember that injury last year with the motorbike. But moving on to my trade, which has been talked about for years as well, rumors every single year for the last 2 or 3 years, is Jose Abreu, who's a really key part of the White Sox success, but he only has 1 year left on his deal.
Okay.
He's the first baseman for them /DH, and he's a really good hitter. I think he came up in 2014, and he really took the league by storm. Not as much as Yasiel Puig did with the Dodgers, but he's really a solid player to have. And at the end of the year, when you need hitting, like Jay Bruce was traded to the Indians during their run when they didn't win, but he had a nice year for the Indians from the Mets. He's the type of guy that teams really look for, and I think that he will be somewhere else if the White Sox don't start.
By
That's a key word.
By far one of the most underrated first basemen in the entire league. Nobody talks about him, but he still puts up star numbers in fantasy.
For a guy of his stature, he's also a pretty good fielder as well.
Absolutely. But briefly, who is your Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, and MVP candidate?
So my Rookie of the Year, I have a few of them. So with Bryce Harper gone, for National League, Bryce Harper, he's gone. We all know that. He's on the Phillies now. But someone that's going to steal his spotlight for the Nationals is Victor Robles. And I've heard so many great things about him. I don't think he's going to be to the same level as Ronald Acuna. We'll get into him with the Braves later. But Robles is fast. He's a great fielder, steals a lot of bases, and that's what you look for a rookie. And he also has a very shining personality. I really just like everything for USC from him. And for the other part of it, I really got I think that he's a great guy and great hitter as well. Who do you have for National League?
National League, I also have Victor Robles. ironically. But for the AL, Vlad Guerrero Jr., very hyped up prospect. I know he'll be out for the first 3 weeks of the year, but what he did in the Arizona Fall League and AAA last season, unbelievable with those 300 hits. It's a ton of dingers. I think he's he's a no-doubter.
He's making Vlad Guerrero Jr., his dad's a Hall of Famer now, one of the best right fielders ever. He's really taking he's making the minor leagues watchable. People are actually caring about, like similar with Tim Tebow with the Mets, but my American League Rookie of the Year is Danny Jansen on the Blue Jays because the catcher position is so dense. There's really nobody there. Russell Martin's a great veteran to learn under, and I feel like he'll just break out and have a really nice season. He had a home run actually in the Futures game. So we'll see how he does for the Blue Jays. They've had a few rough years with Donaldson leaving. He went to the Braves this offseason. I feel like he could be a new face, and he also has nice sports goggles, which I appreciate as well.
Absolutely. But shifting over to teams as a whole, which one will be the biggest surprise?
So I don't think it's necessarily, I think it's just the fact that they'll sustain their success is the Oakland A's. My cousin's also a big fan, so shout out to him for watching as well. But the A's, they have Marco Estrada. They just added Matt Chapman at third base, great fielder. Also had a nice few clutch hits in the game against the Yankees, which was sadly for the A's fans a disappointment. Matt Olson's a great power hitting first baseman. Blake Trinan, one of the best relievers in the league, very underrated, but he's filthy. His slider and changeup combination is one of the best in the league. He should be talked about more. So I don't think it's really surprised if they're good because last year they were amazing. It's just the fact that the A's, since Moneyball years in like the late 90s, early 2000s, it's just they have had trouble keeping a row of good years in a row. So what do you think?
A's are going to get cut short because there are the Tampa Bay Rays who got 90 wins last season. Nobody was talking about them. Rays are one of the most underrated teams in baseball by far. If you get Blake Snell back to what he was last season, he won Cy Young. He had an unbelievable season.
Blake Snell was unbelievable, yeah.
Yes. They also signed Avisel. They signed Avisel Garcia, who hit 330 in 2017, and he was cut short last season. So he didn't hit that. If he's back to that 2017 self, he could lead them to the postseason for sure.
So no, I know before you were actually making a postseason bracket, and me and you were debating a little bit about certain teams because you don't have the Mets on it. But yeah, if you want to share.
Camera, zoom in on this real quick. So I have Yankees, Cleveland in the ALDS, Boston, Tampa. Tampa gets beaten by Boston. Yankees beat Cleveland. Yankees beat Boston to go to the AL, and then NL. I have Dodgers and Braves, Phillies, Rockies. Phillies beat the Rockies. Phillies beat the Cardinals. Phillies play Braves.
Same as
Yankees, Phillies, 2009 rematch.
Okay. That
Yankees
just about
win.
wraps up our way too early predictions. I'll have mine soon too. We'll see you in back-to-back on next break. Hope you enjoy.
The second I got on the campus, I knew Oswego was the place to go.
There's a place for everybody at Oswego.
This school just opens the world to you. Have the opportunity to explore and to learn so many different things, not only about yourself, but the people around you and the world.
It definitely is about the student. I felt it to be very about me.
Now that I'm here, I can't imagine myself anywhere else.
Everybody can make something because I think everyone has a spark of creativity, and the reason that I have to keep making is because I don't think my life would be as fulfilling without it. If you make things yourself, that means you're not cowering in fear. You're out there taking chances. That, I think, is my way of saying I love you to the world. All right, now I want to hear why you make.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
David Richey. I mean, they were. Do you think Bryce Harper, Tommy John survivor, Nathan Eovaldi?
Welcome back to a lot of backs right there, around the bases in which me and Noah will answer rapid fire questions about the MLB and the baseball world as a whole. So you ready, Noah?
I was born ready. Get into it.
I'm glad you said that. So on Saturday, this is more of a pop culture thing as well. Alex Rodriguez and Jennifer Lopez announced their engagement. Are they the best couple in sports?
I would also like to mention he peeped the 2009 ring while he was proposing.
Off, yeah.
I think that yes, they are. Yeah.
I think it's either them or Kate Upton and Justin Verlander.
Do not sleep on the Uptons or the Verlanders. Doesn't matter.
And so moving on, this is rapid fire. So Dallas Keuchel and Craig Kimbrell are still unsigned, and the regular season is starting like next week. So who do you think will sign them if they do get signed at all?
Kimbrell to the Red Sox and Keuchel to the Braves. Braves need that ace. Red Sox are nothing without Kimbrell.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, we'll see what happens. But in 2018, we saw a position player pitching in a game 72 times. How many times? Just a rough number. I'm going to say 68 times we'll see it this year, a position player. But it's just an estimate. Nobody really knows.
Players and the coaches are trying to keep the pace of play at a good pace. So I'd say slightly under, because it's just like, I don't want to see Pablo Sandoval pitching in the 7th or 8th inning for the Giants. Come on.
It's definitely just going to be, we'll see. I mean, I love seeing position players pitch, and when they're actually good and striking people out, it's definitely one of the most entertaining things to see in the world of sports. So yeah, so you said how many, did you say a number yet?
I'd say, well, let's say 48.5, well no, 48, yeah. 48.
Yeah, so a little less than mine, drastically more than mine. But yeah, moving on. This truly was an offseason to remember as a baseball fan, including Harper and Machado being signed, really massive, groundbreaking contracts, as well as stars like James Paxton and Paul Goldschmidt being traded from their respective teams. So which team arguably had the best offseason and why?
Phillies, they wanted to spend stupid money. They got Harper, they traded for Gene Segura, and they signed Andrew McCutchen, so I think they had the best overall by far.
I think the Cardinals, they got Goldschmidt, who's a respectable, classy guy, great first baseman, and Andrew Miller, possibly the best lefty in the league.
I think the Cardinals are up there for sure, absolutely. But that just wraps up around the bases for all of us here on Back to Back. This is Noah Cowan
and I'm
Alex Kent.
Yeah. So
we will be back on April 4th. Have a great night.
See ya.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with an SPF of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
I'm a lot more confident and a lot more sure of my abilities. At Oswego is where I really found myself and became the person I am.
You work hard and you play hard. I love the environment of SUNY Oswego.
David Richey. I mean, they were. Do you think Bryce Harper, Tommy John survivor, Nathan Eovaldi?